Hi, everyone. So, I wanted to create a quick video that addressed a question I hear a lot, and it's tough. It basically is saying or asking, how long does it take to change a behavior? I'm doing everything you're telling me. I put it in place. I'm doing it all. Why is it not getting better? Or why is it still here? Or why do we have 4 good days and then a horrendous day? So, this is the hard part of what I do. This is the hard part of what you do. We are working with humans. And unfortunately, when we are rewiring the brain, when we are building new neural pathways for new skills, it's exhausting. It's exhausting for us as the adults, and it's exhausting for the student. So, this means that you can have days when the student might be well rested, has eaten a good meal, everything's going okay at home. Does that make sense? And then they'll be following along. They'll be putting the strategies in place, and you feel like a winner, and you are. And then something happens. They change. Um, they come in a day and they just look mad at the world. You can't figure it out. Everything was going good. Why are you going backwards? What's happening? Well, what's happening is that they're tired, and building a new neural pathway is exhausting. So you're going to have bad days. You are. I wish I could tell you weren't, but you are. And so you're going to have maybe 4 or 5 good days and then a bad day. Now, what happens on that bad day determines what's going to happen next. If you maintain your new strategies, then that student should pull through and get back on track. Okay? All right. If you throw your hands up and say, I knew it was crazy, I knew it wouldn't work, and you go back to your old strategies because you're tired, okay, the student's brain will say, awesome, we're going back to this old pathway that's already well formed. We don't have to keep working on this new pathway. Let's go back. And the behavior will come back and even increase in intensity. This is the dark side of rewiring a brain. Now, let me put it into maybe language you understand for changes you may have made in your life. Okay, so let's look. I think I've been on a diet since I was 10. Just is what it is. I've always struggled with my weight. And so getting on a diet, pretty much always followed the same path. You start the diet, you go okay, everything's going well, everything's going, you start seeing results on the scale, and then you have a bad day. You wake up, you're late, you don't have time to make your oats, you don't have time to make your lunch, so you'll just grab something on the road. You'll eat at the school cafeteria, which is healthy food, but it may not be according to your diet. Or maybe the awesome school cafeteria has made your favorite meal. Anyways, you slip. You slip at lunch, you slip at breakfast. Then you say, you know what, I'm just going to mark this day as a cheat day, and you slip at dinner. Does that make sense? Maybe that morning it's donuts for teacher day, and everyone brings donuts, and they're like, you gotta have a donut, we're celebrating you. And you're like, but I'm trying not to eat sugar and junk. And they're like, but we're celebrating you. So you eat one. The next day, your sugar cravings, your cravings for junk are actually going to intensify. All right. This is actually kind of why the worst time to start a diet is right after Christmas. But when do we all start a diet? Right after Christmas. We're like, we're going to party for December, and then January, we're going to be amazing. And then what happens come February? we're not amazing anymore. What ends up happening is that once you eat that sugar that you've been restricting, you become almost ravenous for it. So you may get back on your diet, but then the scale's going to shoot up a little bit, or things will start to become, you're just like, why even try? because guess what? In another week, so it's going to be muffins for mentors, and maybe you're a mentor. And then 2 weeks down the road, how do we show love in the South? We feed you. And so you feel like if you don't eat, you're not accepting love. That's a whole nother day for a whole nother topic. All that being said, all right, the same way you struggle with changing your own life, that's what these kids are doing. Unfortunately, you're a partner in their change. That means the struggles that they have, you have and you have really no control over it, which makes it even more frustrating for you. So, how many times does it take to change? Well, research says 2,000. 2,000 times. We have to use a neural pathway till it becomes coded enough and where the signals travel fast, that we prefer to use it over the old pathway. 2,000 times. And I think if you look at that number, you realize that you can't do all that for one student in 1 year. That's why what we're doing in Coleman is so important, to hopefully build a system of people who understand the brain and understand why it takes 2,000 times. I'm going to carry time 100, 0 through 100. And then I'm going to pass the student off to the next grade level, and they're going to carry that 200 to 300. And then it's going to go all the way up. If we have a whole school system working together, then as we're passing that baton to the next teacher, they pick it up and they keep reinforcing those pathways. But if we have a disconnected school system, a disjointed school system, and I pass it to a teacher who says, those aren't important, these are important. Well, those start building. And then the next teacher says, that's not important, this is important. We get disjointed kids with all these half-built skills. So anyways, the goal is to change behavior. And the goal is to do it slowly, over time, day over day. That's the goal. Are there going to be bad days? Yes, because you're human and they're human. Are you going to fail some days? Yes. Are they going to fail? Yes. All of that's yes. And all of that's okay. Does that make sense? Do not let one bad day ruin the work you've done. Our brain automatically clings to the negative. Automatically. It's not going to remember the positive. It's always going to cling to the negative. It's called negativity bias. It's what we do. It's how we survive. And the brain says, it ain't worth it. Stop, abort, abort. But it is worth it. It is worth it. So I ask you to hang in there. Be that warrior. Fight for you. Fight for this kid. I know it may not feel like you're making progress on the dark days, but if you need a partner, just stop back. Give me a call. Let's celebrate all the growth. Let's celebrate all the good baby steps, because those little good baby steps are actually getting us to where we want to go. Does that make sense? Teaching is not for the weak. It's just not. Building brain pathways is hard. I wish it was easy. If I could make it easy, I'd be a billionaire. But just keep trying. There's a reason this kid's in your class. What can you learn from them, and what can they learn from you? Because they're making you a better teacher and you're building a better brain. All right. Talk to you later.